Welcome back to Tailosive EV Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the full crew once again, day after Cyber Rodeo, and lots to catch up on. Randy's bowing for some reason. Would you like to fill me in?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 digits deep.
Wow.
Episode 1.
Family-friendly there, Randy.
We did.
All right, it was a great 100 episodes, everyone. Thanks for
Put it on your bingo card.
Thanks for...
Yep, the episode 100. Not family friendly. Thank you, Nick. And I'm about as excited as I am sad that we haven't killed each other yet. After 100 episodes of this.
Not quite.
So we've killed
very
plenty of
special
audience members' hours, though. We've killed plenty of time.
That's true. We've killed a lot of usefulness and purpose and just overall life, you know. People won't get that time back that we've wasted.
We've effectively provided over, because it's more than an hour, but at least 100 hours. We've given you days of content. Days.
Yeah. More than 2.
More than 2.
More than 4.
More than 5, even. I mean,
I'd say probably
most of our episodes are over an hour.
That's true.
Hour and a half. Yeah.
We've stolen 1 week of everyone's life.
Take that.
Wow.
Take that, cigarettes.
And we can't wait to take another week of your guys' lives in the future.
Here's to another week of content.
1 more week. Or 2 more weeks.
We are your weekly nicotine.
Worrying. Another week of worrying about the Cybertruck. Another week of changing our Tesla plans. Another week of daydreaming about some other pickup. And
FSD.
all the FSD updates, of course.
Speaking of
all the more
Mike,
to come.
Your FSD is literally trying to kill you. Literally.
So you're referencing the video that I sent you guys right before this,
Yes.
where, I guess a quick little update. I was driving to work, and for the first time, FSD went through a red light for me. Thankfully, it was a safe situation that I went through the red light, but there was a train track and this intersection, and the car needed to make a left turn, and it made the left turn, but by the time it got to like the intersection where it makes the left, the light turned red. It didn't show any hesitation. It went through like any normal person would. There's no other cars going through because I checked while we're approaching.
Did the light show as red? Did it show as red on the screen? Could you see at the time, or you were probably focused on the road, right?
I was focused more on the road, but I'm sure it was red.
It showed red
okay.
from the playback of it, right?
Well, you can't see it on the recording.
Yeah.
Visualization.
No,
on the
his
screen.
car did not gaff.
No.
It just went like YOLO.
I'll have to admit, it ran a red light in the safest possible way.
Exactly.
It was
It went
like
through pretty smooth. I didn't feel like I was
Tell
being
that one
jerked
to the
around
cops.
too much. Good luck trying to
Well,
get
you
to
see,
me. The
officer,
intersection's weird.
the light was wrong, and the car knew that, so it just continued anyway.
I always
so.
look at stoplights more like stop suggestions, personally.
Well, we know where Randy's been with his car recently.
Kind of like the speed limit signs.
Yeah,
all
there-
those speed
it's a
recommendation
suggestion.
signs.
Yeah, it's a recommendation.
And whenever you park in a handicap parking spot without a handicap permit, it's not a handicap parking ticket you get. It's a fee for premium parking.
Oh god, it's a premium parking pass. Oh, that's terrible.
That effectively goes on your record as like he has 5 parking passes.
This guy's really rich. Yeah.
And did you know
can
you
afford
don't
it.
have to pay them? You put them in your glove box and they collect. And then after a while, the disco car pulls you over, and guy gets out and has a fun conversation with you. It's just
Disco
wonderful.
car.
I see why Nick really needs a car that can summon itself out of a parking spot.
Yeah.
Yes, most
And
definitely.
depending
Man.
on your demographic, you might have a good time with that interaction or a bad one.
And you can take that as investment advice.
Tesla to the moon, baby.
Oh, speaking of to the moon, kind of as expected, the stock is not performing particularly well despite Cyber Rodeo
Well,
Yeah, I guess we timed this perfectly, our 100th episode, with the opening of Giga Texas and I guess deliveries, which you predicted wrong, Mr. Drew. You said that there's going to be
I
no
call
deliveries.
foul play. I still believe no deliveries have taken place, technically.
There was 20 cars that drove up the stage and drove down the stage without
Yeah,
stopping, Drew. Those were deliveries.
They were already in the car.
makes sense to me.
Nobody was there like, oh, I can't wait to get my car. They just drove on the stage and kept going.
Yeah.
They like drove out the factory on the second floor. They just went through the window.
Yeah.
We didn't install the brakes yet. But
Didn't you see though? By that logic, Franz got the delivery of the very first Cybertruck. So,
that's true.
Didn't have an
Rightfully
airbag
so.
in it though, so kind of dangerous.
First Cybertruck was delivered. You don't need an airbag with the Cybertruck because it's so beefy and strong.
Oh, I see.
It'll go through anything.
Best part is no part.
It defies
Wonderful.
physics, really.
Correct. Well, is it the driving crash tests they do? Where they ramp up the Model Y and it hits something. The Cybertruck just goes through whatever it's being tested against.
Creates a Cybertruck hole into it.
Yeah.
Just like
the
a
other
cartoon,
side.
it's a perfect outline of a Cybertruck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like the way they did the drones. It just comes out so clean.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Actually,
What'd you
the
guys think
crash
of that?
test takes the mirrors off. As
Yes.
Oh,
it's
is that how
as
you
it's
get it?
driving.
That's how you get it out. Okay. Yeah.
The mirrors are shredded off.
That's
and
how you
it
get the
comes out.
prototype version. It's a feature. It's a feature. You
It's a
unlock it.
feature, really. What did we think of what exactly?
Oh, I guess the whole event, or maybe the fireworks, or the 10 minutes of fireworks, or the drone show. I thought that was pretty neat, being able to outline a Model Y and then also a
Yeah.
Cybertruck and rotate that around.
I honestly thought that was the coolest part of the entire event was the drone show.
Drew, did you have a chance to go back and watch the stream without fears of copyright?
A little bit, but I didn't catch the whole thing. But I'm sure the music was fantastic.
Yeah, okay, that answers my question. You do not care.
Yeah,
You have no respect for art.
I do care. I went back, but I just caught the part of
Dude, I
Elon.
was so jazzed. It was just like it was the thing is, maybe it's the music brain in me, but it was synchronized to the song that was playing. It was the way the tires were rotating as it was taking the form of the Model Y, and then it was just doing like it felt like I was watching Doctor Strange do some stuff, and and it was. I knew. I didn't want to say it then because I might have been wrong, and I didn't want to like be a Debbie Downer in the stream or nothing. But I knew if this was gonna be so cool right here, I was like, I think we're about to be let down.
Yeah, I was kind of going into it with low expectations anyway, because they announced they were going to live stream it. I think like
2 minutes before
20
they started.
yeah, 20. I think it was like the previous day they were like, okay, we'll stream it. So I was like, this doesn't seem like something they were planning in advance for very long. And they said, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but Omed was going to talk too.
Yeah, he never
he
talked
didn't.
once.
He never said anything, despite all the banners and stuff were saying, the speech by Elon and Omed. And I was like, something felt last minute change. Something felt like
Have you
things
ever
got
seen an
shifted
Elon
around.
event ever?
Yeah,
I have. Yeah.
They're
That's why I was
basically
going
our
into
last
it.
minute changes. That's what
Yes.
he
I
he
think,
clicks it. What am I doing? Well, he goes, what? Boom. What now? So, what now? We ramp up scale. I don't think this works.
I don't think he had ever done that PowerPoint in his life. He had no clue what the next slide was.
No,
gonna
he did not. He did not. He was watching with us. Okay, I could talk
And
about
the
this.
Model 3? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
we did we did that. He's just
And if you
watching
had
the
on your
slide.
bingo card, he said, "Don't spill the beans." You would. That's a bingo.
Bingo.
When do the beans get spilled? Is my question. If not at earnings calls and not at Cyber Rodeo,
When they
what are we
leak
waiting
on
for?
Twitter.
Ouch.
Okay. The beans get spilled by Jeff Roberts, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's who.
Or
decides
Elon
it.
Musk.
Oh,
At this point, I get
remember.
more information from Sawyer than anybody else, really. Like
We do.
So
you can't believe all of it, but yeah, you get more info.
At least you're feeding my curiosity. I mean, it's the new fake leaks of tech, right? So I mean, at least it's like, give me something. Like this is what you're doing, Elon. You're making me go to alternative sources.
We have to.
We have to.
Yeah, I don't know if I count first deliveries beginning because they have still not announced or shown the pricing or updated the configurator. And all the people who have taken delivery have said nothing about this new model. They won't tell us what they paid for it. So I assume that means it's employees, in which case there have been employee deliveries like months ago. There was like members of the Tesla energy team driving around a Austin build and supercharging it and stuff. So it's like, I don't know if that counts as first deliveries if it's all employees. I don't believe any consumer has taken delivery. And trust me, I'm looking. I'm checking everywhere to find if anyone's talked about it or if anyone's taken delivery and said, hey, this is the Austin build. Here are some of the changes, but no one. So I assume it's all under NDA.
And these Austin builds, they are the new standard range, right? Or the mid-range or whatever it's called.
From what we can tell, yeah. That people went into the factory and there were Model Ys that were built there, and they went inside and looked at the info on the screen, and for one, they were running FSD Beta V11, which was kind of funny. And for two, they all said standard range dual motor, and the range number at 100% was, like the EPA said, 279 miles. So that basically confirmed my theory that they would be 4680 structural packs with low range, which is disappointing for some, but it just made too much business sense in my head. So I would be incredibly frustrated if I was still in the market for a Model Y right now. I would be pulling my hair out of like, what is this Model Y? How do I get it? You know, how do I order that? And I still don't know, even though first deliveries have begun, whatever that means.
It means you're not high enough on the pecking order to be,
I guess not,
dealt that information or the vehicle.
How much do you guys think it'll cost?
Nope, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Fine. So Randy's answer is no.
Okay, no, all right, give me a second. Unless you guys have an answer, I'm trying to.
Podcast predictions. Randy,
between $49,000 and $52,000.
Yeah, Randy's accurate.
Really?
Most times, like, wait, what'd you say, Nick?
Between
Whoa,
$49,000 and $52,000. But you're only going to be able to buy it this decade with FSD for an extra $12,000.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a reasonable prediction.
No, it's not.
I think that's fair.
It's not.
No, it's not.
Well, at least it's a prediction, Randy. What's your guess?
Okay, fine. Are we talking about
that,
standard
Rand
range?
Hall.
The new standard range price?
Yeah, standard
55.
range dual motor.
55.
55. Okay.
Let's say 58.
You
You're not
guys are
trading
all
up too
more
much.
optimistic. Well, I guess Nick is. I'm gonna combine the both of worst. I think it's gonna be 60,000, and you can only get it with FSD for the first couple quarters. So 72 grand minimum. But you really think they would price it like 10 grand or 11 or 12 grand lower than the long range?
Yeah, so let me go through a few of my reasons, and
Okay.
I think I'll debunk my own reasons before I give them, just so you know that I'm mostly playing devil's advocate right now.
Got it.
Obviously, they are extremely supply constrained, so they could literally sell a 3-mile range Model Y for $50,000, and there'd be a line of people to buy it, probably myself included. But so that all aside, they're only doing the 4680s, and they are using the latest manufacturing technique, so it should be very efficient. They're not using a ton of batteries, which is a big price point in these vehicles, and a source of cost. And the whole fact that this new Giga Austin whole assembly line is as streamlined as it gets. It's as Elon said, it's the latest version of their product. Tesla makes car factories. That's basically what Tesla does. They don't make cars. They make really good car factories. and having as he said, basically a system on chip or a factory in building manufacturing setup where everything just flows in one direction, where raw materials go in one side and finished cars come out the other, will allow for some very increased cost savings. And I think if they wanted to leverage all those into lower sticker prices, they could do that and hit that $49,000 to $52,000 price point. However, we have increase of raw materials, increase on supply constraints, and also incredible demand. So perhaps my initial estimate is off, but I think that could happen if they wanted it to be.
Yeah. I think you're closer than you think if you consider that you're suggesting it could be a lot less, but they'll lock it with FSD because that implies that basically they can charge whatever they want for these things because the demand is high enough. So, yeah, I wish they would update the configurator, but why 58,000, Mike? You like the $5,000 gap? That sounds round and even.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's worth, sacrificing that much range for the amount of cells that you're also reducing in there to get, I don't know, something that is comparable to what the standard, or I guess not standard, but the long-range all-wheel drive Y is. So, I don't know. I think that number just sounds right to me. It sounds like something that Tesla would give. They could justify, well, you're getting 2 motors with this thing, and it's made in Austin, so you're getting like the best QC that you're going to get in America with it.
Yeah.
So, and it's, new cells and all that, so I guess, I don't know. It just sounded like a number that sounded about right to me that Tesla would quote and force customers to pay up, I guess.
That's fair enough. And do you want to have a number on the record, Randy? Or
I said 55.
Oh yeah, 55. Okay, right in the middle there.
But now hearing, man, 55 feels like it's supposed to be the appropriate number, but that doesn't mean that's the number they'll go with. Like, you know what I haven't really adjusted yet because maybe I'm not on the receiving end of it anymore, is these inflationary costs that's causing the prices to shoot up so quickly. I'm not even talking about how high they're going, just how quickly they keep adjusting, and that's not going to slow down. Yeah, even more so if we're talking with U.S. economics, inflation now starting to, not besides that hitting, but like interest rates and everything else is also starting to go up as well. Like it's all rising, and I think we're hitting the point as of products today in 2022. I think we're hitting the threshold for my tolerance to say the vehicles are worth it at this current price point. Even given more so that like Nick had to do a loophole technically to get a Model Y sooner, which is the only reason why he got performance, because it was the only way he can even get a vehicle this year for a Model Y, and those type of restraints.
To be fair, I could have gotten FSD because back at the time, adding FSD increased your delivery slot, but I would have rather.
But then again, this is just another
on performance than in FSD.
And again, this is just another version of finding a loophole to expedite a process. This isn't the way either of you guys would have projected.
If you want your Ford Lightning, just pay them an extra $5,000. Super simple.
Well, that's the only way. There's no loophole there. That's just that's just the gate. That's just the bar of entry for them.
Yeah, the fact that people have to resort to trying to find loopholes, and then Tesla finding out about them, and then closing those loopholes as well in the process is indicative of the fact that like the current process isn't working. Hence, okay, Texas is coming online now. We got to ramp up, and I do believe when he says that. For those who didn't watch, last night Elon said that 2022 is all about ramping up, and then next year it's all about like
Anything
new
we've
products.
ever announced will come in 2023.
Yeah.
Which-
Cybertruck, Semi, Roadster will all be 2023. Which I have a hard time buying that one, to be honest. I'll be honest with you.
No, I don't.
All right.
Yeah.
This is the big topic that I wanted to ask, and I know it's on everyone's mind, so it's not that unique of a question. But as we all know on this show, someone on this show is known for being worried about something, and it is the Cybertruck that I am always worried about, because I am always worried about
Dig
the
deep.
Cybertruck. And you can mark
There's
that
an
off.
Easter egg in all these
Bingo.
episodes.
There is.
It's really subtle.
Dig deep down there. I might be worried about something.
It's the number 23.
What?
It's
42.
everywhere.
42, 69, and 420. But will the Cybertruck be delivered in 2023?
Yes.
Yes. Drew.
I think the Cybertruck is coming in 2023.
Drew,
Only
what do you think?
because
Yes.
Randy, what do you think?
He's going to play Lucid's advocate.
No.
No.
Peter
I
Alton?
also say no. So there are 2-2. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I have some caveats, though. This is a big window.
Here we go.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I was just gonna say they got a whole bunch of time this year to ramp up Model Y, and then that future production section of their factory that they've got on that image. I'm sure they're gonna start tinkering around that location with Cybertruck pre-production stuff. So they have all year this year to figure that out. Then they've got next year to actually start implementing it. Troubleshooting all of the issues that they might have with making that exoskeleton and trying to figure out how the door should open correctly, since even during their demo the door accidentally opened itself. All the other weird things that are going on.
That was amazing.
Silly truck.
With Inspect.
I think they'll have time in 2023 to make it and deliver it. Will it be the deliveries kind of like what we saw last night with the Model Ys? Could be. Where we just see them.
He delivered some Cybertruck.
They drive on stage and
somewhere.
drive off stage.
Yeah, could be that. I don't know. I feel like they've got the factory. They've got the time to ramp up Y and tinker around with Cybertruck. They've got the manpower. At least if they don't, they've got a pretty good advertisement being yesterday's crazy escapade that probably all of it was funded by the Cybertruck reservations, all $100 from 1.5 million people or whatever. I think they've got the money. I think they've got the people, and they've got the time. I think 2023 is going to be the year that we finally see this Polygon drive on the road.
Okay. Randy, what do you think?
I'm going to stagger it. So I'll tell my no, then Drew can say his yes, and then Nick, since you posed the question, you can tell your no. Here's why I say no. First one, I think we're underestimating how behind they are on these deliveries as is, because it's so pushed out for the rest of the year, with Model Y being the most popular. And I don't think that's going to reduce the time. I just think it's going to... I don't think it's going to reduce the time based off of estimated orders that are already projected to the end of the year. I think it's only going to help orders going forward starting next year. So I think we're so behind on delivering vehicles that we are going to be playing catch up for longer than just 2022, which, by the way, we are in April, which means there's only 2/3 left of the year. So that it's going to go by pretty quick. And to say that now we got to catch up on all the Model Ys, all the Model 3s, all the everythings, we're still shipping four vehicles now, and with the hope of getting 3 new products out next year. Yes, Semi is not going to be the star of the show, but it's something that Tesla has been very focused on about getting that delivered, because the optics are off. The optics are completely off when you're having other semis delivering EVs and stuff. And every time I'm driving, I'm like, that's not a good look. I get it. Yeah, that's not a good look. So that's important.
For the Tesla semi deliveries, they're gonna drive on stage and not stop and keep going. They have like 10 semis go.
It just sends it out, keeps going. Roadster, I mean, you got people who paid Founders Series prices, and
Oh my god!
if
Those
they
poor
don't
people.
get their car first, I would would be upset personally if I was a person waiting. And
I have sympathy stress for those people.
yeah, that's what it is. Thank you, Drew. I didn't know. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling sympathy stress. It's sad.
You wired $250,000 in 2017, and you're being told next year, 5 years
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. That to me, because it's such small volume, that has to ship first. That has to. It was announced first. It's a smaller volume, and people wired $250,000. That to me, that should be the priority. Being as objective as possible about it. Is it relevant to me? No, I don't care. But fair is fair. These people were in line way longer than us. Then we get Cybertruck, and even then, we'll just get what we got last night. Let's deliver on next year at the end of the year by driving across the stage, and we have no information still. We'll have no information, and it's just going to internal customers, internal employees first as the first customers.
Internal customers.
Internal customers is what I would now
I
dub
like
them.
that. Yeah.
So, and then you got those whole
All right.
robot thing too. You got you got
That's a whole new can of
AIs.
worms for me.
That is, and we'll get to that. But I'm not saying
scared.
they can only focus on one thing at a time. I'm sure they're focusing on all four simultaneously, and then some things we don't know about. I guarantee they're doing it all at once. And whether that's in the future production section of our little map here, the point is something has to come first, though, in order of priority. Cybertruck just saying it because it's the newest thing that was announced. So I don't see it next year.
Model Y was announced after the Roadster and the Semi, yet came out quicker. And
Yes,
I feel like,
and that was
I
all
guess
pre-COVID.
this is my quick response
That's
to you,
true.
I guess, Randy. And the Cybertruck is, again, one of those big mainstream vehicles that's going out to the masses, where the Roadster and the Semi are kind of like the whipped cream on top of the ice cream or the sprinkles. What?
Why are you whipping cream over
I
there?
just don't know. I
Mike?
feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like there's been multiple times Mike has told me about sprinkles on this show, which makes me laugh.
Sprinkle
I just
Bay.
imagine little semis on the top of my cake.
I feel like the Roadster is definitely the sprinkles, while the Semi is the whipped cream, because they need the Semi for delivering a whole bunch of stuff for Pepsi and Coke and everyone else in Walmart. The Roadster is unnecessary little bites of sugar that you put on top of this whipped cream.
With little SpaceX packages.
Even
on
if
the
I was to give that to you, Mike, and assuming I do, which
You
I
better
don't,
give
but,
it to me.
but assuming I would even concede that point to you, the fact that we are still this backlogged with the back orders, I still don't see it happening next year.
Okay, sure.
With Hertz's orders
yeah.
of trying to build their fleet with the models, I just don't see the priority being Cybertruck to be coming out. At the most optimistic thing is fourth quarter, and even then, it's on Elon time, and Elon time will never be on time. It's about as on time as me saying I will join the stream in about 2 hours, and you guys roast me for 7.
It's 3
Yeah.
hours, but yeah.
Whatever.
Drew, what
Mike
do you
has
think?
been Mike has been teasing me, so
Drew, why did you say yes?
I don't know. now that I've
So
heard.
here's why I said no.
Okay, go ahead. Well,
now that I've heard,
now that I've heard both arguments, I think both have brought up good points. I agree with half of what Randy said and half of what Mike said.
So yes,
Yes, and I just understand from a business logistics standpoint, Tesla has so much demand and they have such a backlog that they don't care who's been waiting the longest. They don't care who reserved the most. I mean, I was hearing people with 10,000 shares of Tesla stock were not invited to Giga Texas, despite living in Austin and owning multiple Teslas. So it's like, they don't care. You can buy as much stock as you want. You can wire them as much money as you want. They're going to be like, we'll let you know. We'll let you know when we feel like. People in my personal life ask me, it's like, oh, did you buy the car? And I was like, well, we wired the money and now they've gone quiet, so we'll find out what happened. But from a business perspective, they're like, whatever. And I agree with Elon saying that the Roadster is dessert, or sprinkles, if you will. that because it's such a low volume product that does not really do much for the company in terms of revenue, in terms of volume. I get where you're coming from of like man to man, if I was talking with someone who took my money years ago, I would be very upset. And, if it's the principle of the thing, but if Tesla ignores the principle, all it means is some more people are ticked off at them, and they can afford that. Like they can get away with treating people like trash right now. So I get why they're not going to do the Roadster first, even
The cost
though
of doing business.
it's the cost of doing business, and there's far more demand for the Cybertruck than any other thing they've unveiled so far. More so than the Robotaxi, more so than the Bot, more so than the Semi, Roadster, everything. So if you're just going from a perspective of we should address what will please the largest number of people the fastest, I think prioritizing the Cybertruck is the right call, because everyone waiting on the Semi is already using semis. It's not like there's people who want to go on a camping trip or do more towing with an electric pickup truck, and they're like, oh, I just can't do it yet because the Semi's not out. It's like, no, they're gonna keep using semis, and the businesses are like, probably calling Tesla on the phone like, is it ready yet? Nope. Okay. Let me know when it's ready. And then every year they check in and go, is it done? No? Okay. Let me know. So Pepsi and Walmart and whoever is ordering the semis is going to keep waiting, and they'll keep moving their inventory, and they'll just be like, yeah, whenever it's done, let me know. I'll use it, but they can wait as long as they want. I don't think there's I'm probably the most disappointed about semi delays, to be frank. More so than the semi reservation holders. So Mike brings up a good point that they've got this giant section of Giga Texas specifically laid out for future production. And I think very intelligently, they've laid it out to be right next to the cell and battery production areas, which means that as they build 4680s, put them into a pack, and then stuff them in a Cybertruck, that kind of factory layout will be like the yin-yang symbol. You have Model Ys on one end and you have Cybertrucks on the other, and of course you get to bypass the whole paint shop, so it will require a lot less square footage, I think. And it makes sense, especially because Elon confirmed that they are building 4680s at the factory. That was news to me, that they're using cells built locally. Before, in previous earnings calls and at the annual shareholder meeting, he said that they were just going to import cells from Cato Road. Now, I don't know what's happening with Cato Road. So
I think it's a combination. I think they're trying to fill as many 4680s into Giga Texas as they can.
Right. Although the interesting part about that, and that's a reasonable guess, is that on the last call they said they aren't battery constrained this year. They are all chip constrained. So part of me is like, I bet just for the fact that Giga Texas is at low volume production right now, and they were literally using Model Ys as billboards. Did you see that? They were like wrapping Model Ys with Cyber Rodeo stuff and just like leaving them around. They got them hanging from the ceiling, and they just like, we'll just throw Model Ys everywhere. We'll build a flag out of Model Ys, and they just have them laying all over the place. So I'm like, would you be doing that if you had a shortage of 4680s? I feel like possibly, maybe it's a legal thing. They're like, well, we can't deliver them, so might as well wrap them and turn them into things for people to look at or sit inside. Because I heard it was really hot in there, so people had to like jump in the cars to cool down with the HVAC systems. And so they have a ton of those cars sitting around, and that makes me wonder if Cato Road is gonna start building 4680s for something else, like the Semi or the Roadster. That would be kind of exciting, but like he said, they're not going to do it till next year, so I'm trying not to get my hopes up. But the best counter argument Randy provided that has me doubting my belief that it could happen next year is the demand problem. The fact that despite being chip constrained right now, I have a hard time believing we're going to catch up on Model Y demand within a year, even if it fully ramps up to 500,000 in less than 12 months. At this point, I think that's kind of likely, considering how streamlined the factory is, and they're using fewer cells per vehicle. So ramping up, I think, will go pretty smoothly. But there's already, like, if you want a base Model Y for $63,000, you can't get it this year. You have to wait till 2023. And the concept that that's all just going to go away and no longer be an issue by 2023 is very difficult for me to wrap my brain around, because all of these backlogs and demand pushbacks are with the Fremont built model. We haven't even seen what the potential demand would be if prices started going in the opposite direction yet, because we've only seen demand increase. I was thinking on a previous show, I don't think I got to say this, maybe Tesla is hoping to slow demand by raising prices, and it's causing the exact opposite problem. Everyone thinks, oh no, they're going to keep raising prices, I should lock in my order now. So it causes more people to order, and they're like, okay, shoot, we thought that would slow it down,
it
but
again.
it just speeds it up. I guess keep raising it. And everyone's like, oh no, I should really order now. So they keep, it causes this snowball effect. Tesla doesn't care because everyone's locking in their price at a higher price than it used to be. But yeah, it makes me wonder, like, okay, let's say they did see demand slow down a little bit, so they went, okay, let's lower prices and go the other way. Now the Giga Texas Model Y, let's say one of you is right, 58, 55, 51. Then they're going to expand the addressable market even further, and more wait times and more demand and bigger backlogs. So the concept that the problems we're facing right now are suddenly going to be gone next year is kind of a stretch for me, which is why my caveat is I'm having a hard time believing Cybertruck would deliver in anything sooner than Q4, like, you know, anything earlier than December of 2023. That would be like when I could potentially see the demand getting addressed and Tesla being, you know, fully ramped with Model Y. Now they're building over 1 million a year between Fremont and Giga Texas in the United States, and they can try to catch up on that best they can. And now hopefully they'll have some spare cells sitting around, and they've got, I do think they've got the time to figure out, like, the exoskeleton ramp and the complexities of Cybertruck production and that assembly line and armored glass and how all that will work. They could probably figure all that out by next year, but I think they will be cell constrained eventually once the chip shortage is solved. And it's probably going to be higher margin to keep building Model Ys. It's like a percentage thing. I'm just, like, comparing possibilities because, of course, no one actually knows. I would say there's like a greater than 50% chance of Cybertruck deliveries taking place in 2023. But I won't say like 80 or 90% chance. I'd still find it very, very possible that more world events go on, more chip shortage, and that prevents Tesla from ramping the way they like, and they go, well, if we introduce the Cybertruck, we would deliver less vehicles, so it doesn't support our mission statement. And it's like, it just feels weird to be saying every product we've ever talked about will come out next year. I don't know. That sounds
So if you're going
too good
off
to
of
be true.
percentage, I would say no more than 40% chance it's delivering next year, which is why I still
We're
say
pretty
no.
close. Okay.
Yes, but I will still lean into the no where you're leaning into the yes. I would say no higher than 40%. There's a third of a chance I would give it that it's going to deliver. And
Okay.
that's because I part of me is telling you guys no was a little devil's advocate, but I do agree with the assessment that Cybertruck is the most sought after vehicle that has not been delivered yet, more so than Model 3 or Model Y was. And we just don't know how much of it was hype because the reservation was so low and how much of it was genuine or sincere. And that's the part I juggle with about why Cybertruck is really that in demand, because Nick has how many orders of the Cybertruck, and he counts as 4 people now for it. Like there's so
Nick
many.
is not most people. We all know that.
Yeah, but to
Nick
say
is
that
special.
Brittany then just behind my back puts $100 down real quick and be like, "Hey, I did something out of a spur of the moment, knowing it was fully refundable," when that's not her MO about anything else, tells me that there are more people like Brittany than there are maybe say Nick, in the sense that maybe there might be multiple reservations, might not be, but because you go in risk free and you can get that money back, you have nothing to lose, and a lot of people are going to pull out, especially if the competition is going to offer their stuff first. And we all four of us have sat here and toyed the idea of a Rivian, a Ford Lightning, because at least there's something that's tangible right now. And while we're toying with the idea, just playing devil's advocate maybe just for the show, some people really are pulling the trigger and going with these other ones that may have had a Cybertruck reservation that still do but won't cancel because it's no risk. So I still think it's the most sought after vehicle that's in not pre-production, but that's just not even, that's still a prototype. But I have a hard time grasping that it is as popular as we are saying it is, or that we think it is, based just off of reservations being, it's $100 like that, fully refundable. Who wouldn't do it? I thought about doing it before Brittany did it. So all that to say that I still feel it would be the priority of 2023 to get that focused. But I led with the being backlogged first because I don't think it's going to be fixed this year. Getting ramped up. It's just to meet deliveries and stuff like that. So ultimately, no more than 40% chance that it would deliver, and that's me being very optimistic about it. I still say 2024 is Cybertruck for me.
What about you, Nick?
So here are the main reasons why I said no. The Cybertruck will not be coming in 2023. The first one is anecdotal, but I feel like at this point I should bring it up. The same people who have told me the Cybertruck is coming next year for the past many years said that it's coming next year again. And so, I don't know. I just have a bad taste in my mouth at this point. Because I've been waiting for it so much so that I'm willing to bet that the Cybertruck that I want will not be available in the next 3 years. Probably. And if so, then I'm going to have to wait for it. I'm going to have to, cancel my reservation and, figure something else out. Or, buy the Cybertruck and have the Model Y at the same time, or figure out what all that looks like. Who knows how that's all going to work. But the main reason why I don't think that the Cybertruck is coming in 2023 is because battery production. Battery production is the constraint here. They've said that many times. Yes, they can build more. They can't build enough cars for the amount of demand that they have just for the Model Y, just for the Model 3, just for the Model X, just for the Model S. The core constraint there is the batteries. If they could make more batteries, they could sell more cars. And the Cybertruck is going to use a crap ton of batteries. There's no way this thing is using more than any other car.
Exactly.
It's going to be using at least double the number of batteries of your typical performance Model Y, if not even more than that for the 500-mile range one. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not up to snuff on the latest leaks or how many batteries we think we're going to be expecting in these, but it's going to be a lot of batteries. We can all agree with that. And in a position where Tesla can literally sell whatever vehicles they can make, they're going to be incentivized to create vehicles that use the fewest number of batteries possible, which is why we're seeing the standard range or the typical dual motor Model Y come out, because they can sell an extra, 0.3 cars worth of batteries. They're using 0.3 fewer batteries per unit. This analogy is spiraling out of control, but you get it. They're able to sell more vehicles in total with the same amount of batteries. And I just don't see them diverting battery supply towards the Cybertruck. The only way I see them getting Cybertrucks delivered in 2023 is hey, we're going to deliver 30 units on December 31st, and you're never going to hear from the 10 people that we delivered them to, and practically not going to be delivered. And all you normal
10 people got 3 Cybertrucks each.
Exactly. I'll have to share that to take turns and use it on the weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
And Franz is going to be over there throwing metal balls at it. So, I mean, it is. I'll grant it. It is in the world of possibilities that we do see some Cybertruck deliveries at the end of this year, but it's going to be very small chance that even happens
this year.
And that they'll have a small number. Okay, so we have 20 months till the end of 2023. That's 20 months in for Tesla to get up the battery production to a point where they can start diverting a large amount of supply towards the Cybertrucks. That's 20 months for them to get the factory lines established. It's 20 months for them to figure out how to even build this car, because keep in mind, all of the other cars that they've ever made rely on industry standard, aluminum stamping processes and steel stamping processes. Now, yes, they made great improvements with the single casting and all that, but the Cybertruck is just a completely different beast. And if I know anything from covering Starbase, these steel rolls that they use at Starbase to make Starship are incredibly difficult to work with, and the tooling that they've had to put into being able to reliably make these Starship segments out of the same steel as they're going to build a Starship with took them like a year and a half to get that process down. Now, hopefully they can take some of those lessons in with the Cybertruck and, get a few engineers to help out the Cybertruck people. But at the end of the day, it's a completely new process, and yes, that is 20 months that they have to do that in. Great. I think they could make that happen. But at the end of the day, that's 20 months for more worldwide events to impact Tesla's ability to sell vehicles. And I think that's the greatest thing that we've seen over the past, 2 and some change years at this point, of the world events impacting Tesla in a way that doesn't necessarily hurt their stock price, because their stock price has really never been higher in the grand scheme of things. I know it took a dip today, but it's never been higher. And
you're right.
Demand for EVs has never been lower, and never been higher as well.
Sorry.
You had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie, Nick.
Yeah.
And then right there, you just. Woo.
It's never been lower.
That's the cue for Nick to stop talking. Let someone else talk. But yeah, I think 20 months.
You bring
is
up a
long
great
time.
point, man. I didn't even think about the whole battery restraint part of that. Like the size of the battery alone. That is.
Like, it says something that they're doing standard range first. I think that is a high indication of where they see themselves long term. And I think
That's
the other
a great point.
Well, because they're basically able to sell the standard range for the same dollar price that they were originally expecting to sell, some of the higher range ones with, and that's a mixture of inflation and supply costs going up. But at the end of the day, they're still taking home tons of money.
It's still the highest margins in the industry. So it's not pure inflation if the margins are that.
No,
high.
GM
sure
is the industry leader in EVs, Drew. Didn't you hear that?
Did you hear? Did you hear they delivered like 400 EVs in Q1?
They're the industry leader, Drew. They're the industry leader.
So Rivian delivered more than GM.
Oof.
At this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this whole battery constraint thing might just be them trying to ramp up their cell production at Giga Texas, because looking at the map that they provided, it's a huge section of the factory is devoted for cells, and of course they're just starting out now, so it does make sense to only put in 70% of the cells that they would of 4680s into the Y and sell it for about the same price. Meanwhile, trying to perfect that manufacturing and then bring it up to one of, like, I think what Elon said, one of the highest yields that any other cell producer would make on Earth, and get really good at it. And in that year of getting good at it, probably be able to put it into a Cybertruck with maybe a full pack for the quad motor or whatever they're going to start with first, probably the quad motor. I don't know. I think those were good points. I would still say, unrelated, I think there's a 60 to 70% chance that the Cybertruck would be delivered in 2023.
Okay. That's pretty optimistic.
High. Yeah, that's high.
I will side a little bit on the optimism side and just say, for the fact that Elon can get passionate sometimes, and that F-150 Lightnings are delivering soon, Rivian's already delivering, that might rub him the wrong way a little bit, to know that, we're supposed to be the biggest, bestest automaker, and other companies are delivering pickup trucks and everyone's waiting for ours. And
hey, man,
I don't know.
Last night I got a sense of some insecurities about this one's worth the wait. I was like, you guys, there's some insecurities showing here. But
you hear Franz? He's like, this is the only truck you want. Nothing else compares. So there's a little bit of competitive. it's the Texas spirit, right? That's the whole.
That's right. No,
Don't
hey,
mess with Texas.
like we said, I welcome competition. I want them to
Oh,
get
yeah.
passionate. I want those guys. To,
I would love it
down at the
if
factory
they-
to get
Ford
feel
and Rivian
threatened.
ticked them off. Yeah.
Yeah, they
If
need
they're
to
like,
feel threatened. Yeah,
they
Rub
keep.
some dirt in their eyes.
You know what might be a good. You know what might be a good strategy is if a bunch of people in Starbase start driving around Rivians and Lightnings, and Elon spends a lot of time there, and he's like, "Where's my truck? I want my truck. Where's mine?" So, yeah, they'll just ship him the prototype, and he can be the only one.
Either
But
the alpha or the original.
if you want more reason to worry, I actually have
More
a
reason.
fairly
Wow,
I have a
this is my favorite
fairly
show so far.
reasonable-
More reasons to worry about the Cybertruck. Actually, that's the title of the
I
show.
would say,
Wow.
how about this? More reasons to justify your lease. More reasons to make you feel better about going with the Model Y in the meantime. Because I actually think, considering that Rivian is starting with the large pack, not the max pack, and Ford is kind of leaning more towards the standard range, 230 miles, and maybe an option to do a little over 300. If Tesla is cell constrained, and they've proven now that they're willing to start with a standard range Model Y because they can have better margins and build more vehicles with less cells or fewer cells, maybe range is not going to be prioritized as much as we'd like with the quad motor. Just like everybody else, they'll prioritize like around 300 instead of 4 or 5, and then they can maximize output because they know we can put in less batteries, therefore we can deliver them sooner or faster and have higher margins, and that means people will still pay it, even if it was a 300-mile range, $100,000 Cybertruck. I guarantee you there'd be thousands of people willing to pay
the fact that it competes or can outperform other regular trucks around the same price point anyway is more. Take everything else out of the equation is already a strong enough reason to make those guys lean into actually they will pay for it. And the fact that now it's an EV and it's a Tesla EV, which means you get all the perks of the ecosystem involved, that thing will sell like hotcakes.
So does that mean that the door could be potentially opened for the tri-motor to still exist with its 500 plus miles of range?
With
Or
no
maybe-
handle.
I don't think so.
Or
I think
maybe a quad motor that you get two different batteries or two battery options. One with the 300 mile and one with the 500 mile.
I'm predicting. You know what changed a lot of my predictions was the people who reserved the long-range rear-wheel drive Model Y back when that was available,
Rest in peace.
and the fact that they did not get their FSD price honored.
Yeah.
That was a
Well,
red flag to me.
They sat around
makes-
for 2 years almost, like a year.
They
and a
did.
half.
But they gave Tesla $2,500, and
Yeah, but Tesla
said,
warned them multiple times, saying we're not going to make this. Change it.
No, that's not what they said. They said we're not making that one right now. And Elon went on in Twitter threads and said, "Yeah, later we're going to do a single motor option." So people were like, "Oh, I'm waiting for that," and they thought their price was locked in, and then they were like, "No, we've decided we're discontinuing that model." And you were like, "Can you honor my FSD?" And they were like, "No." That makes me think they're not going to make any of the Cybertrucks people locked in FSD for, and they're just going to say, well, you didn't lock it in with the quad motor, so we don't have to honor it. And it's a jerk thing to do, and it's going to tick off a bunch of people, but I think they can get away with it. And the other thing that's made me think Tesla's not going to prioritize the high range is the fact that GM has received over 65,000 reservations for the Hummer. And that thing's a joke. It's like
42
100
MPG.
grand, and yeah, it's barely more efficient than a Prius, and it goes barely over 300 miles per charge with a
like
200
that.
kilowatt hour pack.
Yeah.
So just the fact that Tesla could release a truck and say, well, ours supports the supercharging network, plus it's got rear wheel steering, crab walk, and self-presenting doors, and it's a Tesla, so it's got your autopilot and self-driving tech, and it's more durable and rigid than a Rivian or a Hummer F-150 because the exoskeleton, like, they know they have their own share of advantages that they don't need the range argument. I don't think they need to win that one on their first try. So I haven't seen anyone else floating that around because, on the website it still says up to 500 miles of range. But I just would not be shocked if their logic was, we'll build that one eventually, but we don't need to build it right away.
Yeah. And it's just that much more assuring for me to just get into a vehicle that I know I'm going to be comfortable with for the next few years. And if the Cybertruck does come out, the end of 2022, 2022, what year? 2023.
2023.
Yeah. What year is it?
Well, I don't know. 2020 messed me up, guys. I'm still off by a year sometimes, just in my head.
It's hard to keep track.
Still goofed with me. But yeah, even if the Cybertruck does come out kind of at the tail end of 2023, I guarantee you it's going to be the $110,000 Cybertruck that has the limited range, or maybe doesn't have the limited range, but it'll be extremely limited in availability if it doesn't have limited range.
True.
And at that point, is that really the vehicle I was excited for? I mean, physically, it might be a better version. It might have, a couple cool new features, and it has that beautiful design. But I was excited for the Cybertruck because that 500-mile range and that 0 to 60 time was sitting at the about $70,000 price point after you had FSD and some destination taxes in there, and that's no longer going to be a thing. And is it going to be worth that extra $40,000 to me to get that vehicle, or will I be willing to compromise on some of the specs and get like the dual motor whenever that one comes out? That will be probably still in that $70,000 to $80,000 price range by the time it comes out. So that's why I'm pretty comfortable hopping into a Model Y and kind of locking myself in for the next 3 years, because I guarantee you at the end of the 3 years there will be a Cybertruck to buy. I know that will be a thing. Now, whether or not that'll be the Cybertruck that I want, I don't know. But I hope that I can run some math and figure out a way to make that work. So, yeah.
All right.
Gotcha. So do you have updates on that performance?
Oh, yeah, the Performance Model Y. Yeah, the estimated shipping time slipped to the 25th of May through the 29th of June. Basically 10 days since last time we talked about it. I did get a text from Tesla saying, "Hey, your VIN number is getting close. Are you sure you still want this?" And I'm like, "Yes." And so then, like a day after I said yes, they bumped my estimated delivery time like a week, and I was like, or 10 days, and I was like, "Oof, that hurts." But still eagerly waiting. And making plans, so as soon as that VIN number shows up, I'm ready to hop on with the insurance and get everything all organized and get ready for delivery. So I'm quite excited.
Cool. I'm excited for you. I wish mine would change. Nothing's ever changed with mine at all. No one's texted me. No one's done anything. It's just sitting there.
It's a lot of waiting.
More time to save up.
Yeah. It's good. We need that time. But
This time 2 years ago, I was patiently or impatiently waiting for mine that would come to me in 2 days. So it's almost the 2-year anniversary of having the Y.
Ooh, we need a 2-year thoughts section of this podcast.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. But it's worth the wait. Sorry,
I'm
I
about
was
to hit
just
my
thinking,
3-year mark. Whoa.
wow.
this is the one you need.
Yeah.
No other one compares.
Randy, how many miles are on your Model 3, and Mike, how many miles are on your Model Y? I love how they just reach for their phone. I was expecting, like with my car, if someone asked me how many miles are on my car, I'd be like, about 175,000.
3,000.
Yeah,
They're like going to give me an exact number.
Exactly 300,400 miles.
What? Randy.
Really?
I'm sorry. 30,000.
3,000?
30,400 miles.
I was like, neither of those answers made sense. I was
Yeah,
like, 3,000? So did you never
30,000?
drive it in San Diego? And then he said 300.
No, I never drive it here.
It's like, what?
I'm at the same level. I'm at 31,700. So
Hey.
about the same amount. Just shows how much I commute.
But the miles really don't matter on an EV like this.
Not really.
It only matters for gauging your tires about when you need to replace the rubber. But
Oh, true.
maybe
Yeah, the tires
maybe the
still count.
brakes. Maybe the brakes if you're not using regenerative braking. But to gauge, there's no engine. You know, that's and you know they already been
Wait. There's no
clocked
engine?
in over. Spoiler.
Wait.
alert,
How do you
performance?
fill it up with gas?
Very
You take
cheap.
a
The front.
Wait. You're telling me Tesla's selling cars that can't? Be
I'm gonna
filled up at the gas
move
station?
past this whole shtick. We have Model S's that are over 500,000 miles logged, and it's fine. I don't really think about the mileage anymore. So Mike has and and very quickly will continue to surpass me on the mileage of his commuting. But honestly, the Model Y would be just as beneficial and cost effective, even if you're trying to sell it, as it would be my lower mild Model 3, because I don't think range matters. People who care about range when you're trying to sell it on a used market don't really understand EVs when it comes to Teslas.
Yeah, especially because it's like never to 100 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a fun fact number. I think that's what I found myself obsessing over the long range.
What's the VIN number of it?
If you are just someone's asking you how far it goes, then you want to say, you know, what it is at 100%. But in reality, it's like you're never charging to that daily, and even on road trips, it's pretty rare to get to 100. So
I promise you, even if I'm doing 60 miles per hour, wind conditions and all that calculated, I would have never hit the range that it would project me at, even when I first took it off the lot. Just on the elements of the world being applied to it. It just San Diego has hills and mountains and stuff like that. That all played a factor.
You're gonna stop on a trip. There's gonna be some charging stops. I don't know of that many circumstances that are like, with this range, you have to stop, but with this slightly higher battery health, now you don't have to stop on that trip. Is like, you'll probably still need to stop.
Yeah. You should stop because it's not good for the battery to try to get it down that low anyway.
Or the bladder.
And you'll arrive at your destination with a low charge, so that the range difference that people are asking about, I think you're right. If you're asking about what its max range at 100% is, you've probably never owned one.
Wait, no. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the mileage. The mileage of people caring about what the how many miles.
Oh, total miles. Yeah. Well, I meant like if you're trying to sell it. You said if you're trying to sell it and people are asking you what the range is at 100 because of how many miles have been put on it, like whether it's 500,000 or 100,000 or
that counts too. Yeah, that's not what I was trying to say, but that definitely counts as well for sure. Yeah, you shouldn't. It's in that sense. Yeah, when you want to talk about the range, it's got on paper the same way. I would hope people who are in the market for buying a Tesla, because this is the only vehicle that all four of us really have an experience on. That's why I'm specifying. But really, any EV, but for this case, Tesla. I would hope that people understand that the 300 mile, is it 327 or is it 353? Those nuances does not matter. Even if you get to the point where you get the new battery cells where you can charge to 100%, it does not matter. You are not driving on a daily where you're going to eat up over 300 miles to commute somewhere back and forth. If you are, you're in the wrong market for that's not the vehicle you should be buying, because that's not probably for you. And if it is for you, then you already don't care about this stuff because you already calculated the stops that you need to charge. So, like those type of conversations, it's cool as a metric to gauge the evolution of these batteries. Cool. Or the efficiency of the tech. I remember getting the update with the Model 3 and it added like 5 more miles or something. Cool. Did not notice. Don't really care, but cool trivia. That's cool to say that my car has gotten better over time, not worse. But yeah, it doesn't matter. And the mileage of the vehicle in regards to like how many miles are on the vehicle, that part does not matter either. You're not judging the length of a battery based off of whether it's 30,000 miles or 100,000 miles. None of that matters in the used market. People who are asking those type of questions should have already known them through their own research of buying of not buying, but of other people buying used Teslas, like Model S's, would see the history of how long those batteries work if it's not a damaged battery cell. Because that's really what the issue is then at that point. You're not asking about the health of the car. You're asking about the health of the battery. And if it's not damaged, there would be an indicator on your dash when you get in that there's something wrong with your battery and it needs to get serviced. So, you know, all that to say that these cars are amazing.
I want to get a ton of miles. I'm not commuting, but I want to put a ton of miles on our car just to see how it handles the new chemistry and just how it ages, little parts like the lift gate and stuff. But at the same time, I'm worried that, you know, we might not get the long term if we end up upgrading down the road. I won't have much long-term review of it if we end up going with the Y later. But
well, then you get a nice comparison video of what the 3 with the LFP was versus 4680 Model Y.
Yeah. Because I have a feeling that Tesla, you know, is already building Model Ys now across 4 major factories, and within a year they'll probably all be fully ramped. There's going to be like 1.5 million Model Ys across the globe being pumped out per year. Jeez. And at that point, Tesla will probably be able to bring prices down a bit and kind of match demand at lower and lower levels of the pricing ladder. So I don't think Model Ys are going to get cheaper this year, but in the long run, I do think that because of the single-piece castings and the structural pack and the fact that they've optimized so many factories for that, there's a decent chance that if they want the Model Y to become like the cheapest one available, they probably could, you know, especially if eventually, I don't think Giga Texas is just going to do standard range, like 500,000 standard ranges a year. So once they ramp up more, they'll probably be able to say, okay, we're going to do standard range and performance, because those are both somewhat lower volume, and then ramp up a little bit more. Now we can handle long range, and because of the structural pack in 4680s, we could get some better range numbers, and then Fremont could maybe switch to lithium iron phosphate at that point and start making more single motor Model Ys. And at that point, when they've ramped so high and they've caught up with demand, I could see prices becoming a lot more competitive, where they're just like, we want to, you know, price match or beat the ID4 and the Mach-E. But we're just not in that phase right now. Right now, everybody wants one, so they're paying top dollar. So I'm kind of like, I do think the Model Y is a better vehicle than the Model 3. Like, it's more practical, and, you know, that was the one we originally were hoping for. But I just don't necessarily feel like this year is the time to get it if we're not in a rush, because we don't really have use cases for the hatchback or the extra storage space right now. We just kept saying we may have them someday, and that's what basically made us want to do what Mike suggested. It just like, well, we're done waiting for the right Tesla to come along. We're tired of driving around a gas car hoping that soon they'll announce the one I want. And oh man, if I had not reserved a Model 3 and I had still been waiting for that Model Y from Texas right now,
you'd lose all your hair.
All the hair would be gone, just gone. I'd be so frustrated.
Either that or it'd be white.
Yeah, because not only have they given us no information on this model despite deliveries, but also they've risen the price of the long range and performance models even further, and the Model 3 price has gone up too. So I'd be like, what do I do? And so I'm very glad we just decided let's stop with this whole waiting thing, because it used to. I remember on this show, I think a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm okay not buying one right now because Teslas are only going to get cheaper. And the stock is only going to go up. So
I got the cheapest one. All of you had to pay a premium, suckers.
I think mine still will be less than yours, though.
Well, you have a different version.
Yeah, but
you have that cheapy cheap standard. It's not even standard range plus. It's just standard range.
I get the lift gate. Okay.
A lift trunk.
I get the lift trunk and the AMD processor and the heated steering wheel and
But you
don't
don't have mats that come with the car, Drew. You have to buy those third party.
I actually don't, but I'll talk about that in another video.
What?
Well,
doesn't make
let's
sense.
just say when you make YouTube videos, there's people that reach out to you that say, "Can you try this with your car? Can you try this with your car?" So,
Are you
we'll save that
sponsored,
for
Drew?
later. No, not sponsored, but they just wanted me to review them. They're not sending me money. So I can say whatever I want about them. I don't think it's a sponsorship if you say this product sucks and I hate it. But it's brought to you by
This sounds like old Talos of Tech stuff. Like, oh, this
No.
is
It's not a
trash.
sponsorship. They just said that do you want to try it and let us know what you think. And if I don't like it, I won't talk about it. And
Remember,
if I
Drew,
like
we
it,
can
I'll
break the
bring it
sponsorship
up.
rule if you're reviewing it here on the podcast. That's a whole different shtick.
Well, there's already ads here.
And Drew, if they want to, send some Model Y floor mats, I think I know a guy who is about to get a Model Y and could use some floor mats. And maybe
Mike already
can
got his
too.
Y. What are you talking about? Oh, he already has it.
Mine came
Can
with
I leave
floor
you?
mats.
Can before we close off here, I want to leave you guys with a cliffhanger for next week to incentivize not only our listeners who've made it this far, but to incentivize all three of you to come back next week.
Ouch. Okay.
I know someone.
I need an incentive.
I know someone.
Hate being here.
I love being here.
Oh no.
I'm fine.
Who do you
No
know?
one is hurting me.
I
What's
want to
up,
know
Randy?
who Randy knows.
Okay.
What do you?
I'll leave you with this. I know someone who worked intimately with Project Titan and Tesla's autopilot, and I texted you guys some questions, but no one got back to me, Nicholas. But if you had questions, but
No one got back to me.
I will say this. I want to talk about Project Titan next week.
I'm
And-
worried about Project Titan.
And
I can
I'm
pick
worried
up a
that they're
Titan
still
today.
doing it.
I'm worried it's gonna happen.
and
I'm worried about the Titan.
and I'm worried about the future of EVs, but what if you I got how about this for you
I don't know
three
where
and
you're
for
going with
anybody this is a test to see who's made it to the end of the show. If you listen to this, tweet us or send us a message on YouTube. Reach out to one of us if you're listening to it like on a podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on YouTube, leave a comment. If you ask me any questions you would want to know about Project Titan, and I will give you a proper recap next week. And if I can't get to it, it's because of NDAs. But if I can get to it, I want to answer all the questions. But the caveat to it is that it has to pertain to software. I can't answer any questions hardware related. So that's my.
He's asking because we couldn't think of any.
I thought
really
of many
tried.
questions.
Oh,
and all of them
wait.
were just-
Yeah, Drew goes, does he like it? That was bigoted.
Because
First
you
of all-
specified that it couldn't be related to the hardware, and I was like,
well,
But
I got nothing.
yes,
Will
there's-
it- know
what
then
to
you are thinking so small-minded because software, the sky's the limit.
What did you
But-
ask him?
You keep saying him. It's a her, you bigoted.
What did you ask her?
Wow.
What did you ask them?
Cancel.
What did you?
You know what, Drew? You can't come back next week. You're canceled.
Oh shit.
Well, I said him because I thought it was the guy that reached out to me, but now I'm finding out it's not the guy who reached out to you.
This is, yeah.
I thought it was someone else. It's the
Nope,
same.
It's not.
Angela Ahrens
same
reached
other
out to you,
source I
Randy,
had.
the former senior
It's
vice
not a source.
president
It's not a
of
source
Apple
of a
Retail.
fan of the show. I'm only talking about this right here because they don't even know.
No, of course not,
She
'cause it's a
she
woman.
doesn't know that. Oh my god.
She doesn't watch the show.
Oh my gosh, Drew.
I know from the analytics. It says in the percentage, 100% male.
Oh my god.
It says.
Woo! Yeah,
I'm just
it's
gonna
not a
leave it
he.
here to get as
Yeah,
far
I
away from
think
this as
this
possible.
all-
You can
this
fit
all-
you can fit 194 billion hamsters inside Giga Texas, which I think is hilarious.
That is
Okay,
beautiful.
we're
That is beautiful.
We're done here. We're ending it. We're at our hour 15.
Is
Bingo.
that with or without them being liquefied though, Mike?
Oh, we could talk about that all day, Nick. We already know liquefied squirrels in Apple Park and Starship, but
Yeah.
Now hamsters.
Important
otherwise, I'm gonna be hyping up
Hey.
Canoe next episode.
And LFP Cybertruck would be my dream vehicle.
And I'm gonna be pumping up my new Bitcoin replacement, which is called Nick Coin. It's gonna be super great. Everyone should buy it. You can buy it right now for only
Still waiting.
10 pennies. And
10
you get-
pennies.
Get 100 million shares.
Nick will put it on his non-existent Discord server.
Ooh. Burned.
All right.
Sounds good. Take care, all. Have a good week.
Happy
Bye-bye.
100.
Happy 100.
100.